If it's legitimately the first dollar, I don't know. I think it was probably like babysitting. It's got to be babysitting is where I would have made.
I thought your tooth comment was really good. I haven't heard that one before.
What?
That might be the first dollar I ever made.
Was the tooth fairy? I think Molly said that.
Yeah.
Did you say that, Molly?
I said too.
Oh, was that you? I couldn't see your mouth.
That's okay.
Can't see my mouth.
It was
Wasn't
actually me. I can't believe you didn't recognize my voice.
I'd love to give you credit for it, though.
It was mine. I said that tooth fairy bit.
You forgot to raise your eyebrows 3 times.
Tooth fairy. It was probably the tooth fairy or babysitting.
Yeah.
My first job was detasseling corn. If you've ever detasseled corn before.
So Indiana.
It is
of you.
so Indiana. It's straight Indiana. They round up a bunch of kids that are not of age to actually work. I was maybe 12. And then you ride a bus out to a cornfield. And then the first year I did it, you have to walk and then pull the tassels off the top of the stalks so they can be fertilized. And your arms are just dying and you're out in the hot sun all day. And then the second year that I did it, I was part of the I did such a kick-ass job. I got to ride on the machine, and then you pull from the bottom because you're like above the corn. But I did. Here's the fun story about that is that I did get. I have a deathly fear of porta potties, and I would try to hold it all day, but I really had to go to the bathroom, and I don't remember how this porta potty was set up. It wasn't like a city-sanctioned porta potty.
Nothing about the child labor involved in
No,
detasseling is city sanctioned.
12 years old.
None of it is city sanctioned.
And I went into and all the kids knew that I had and there was a group of maybe 15 kids, and they all knew that I had a thing about porta potties, and they followed me to the porta potty. And so I went to the bathroom, I'm shaking and pulling up my pants, and then I go to push the door open, and it slams back in my face, and they're holding the door shut, but then other kids are on the sides, and they're pushing it. It's rocking, so it's moving. And the porta potty wasn't a deep in the ground potty.
No.
Because this is a.
They just set them there. They don't go into the ground.
It just sets there.
Yeah.
So the shit was right there. So when it went like this, it started sloshing out of the thing all over my legs. And then I had to go bathe in the irrigation ditch. And then I sat on the bus the rest of the day, and it scarred me for life.
Oh.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty
That's
scarring.
a for life scar, you guys.
You still get a brow sweat whenever we're out, and definitely the only option is a porta potty, and there's mounting anxiety.
Yeah.
And I offered you
real.
our porta potty.
I know. And then I was like, well, it's fine. I'll be fine.
I thought of that story.
That was actually our plan. Levin told us that story.
To lock me back in there, recreate one of my biggest nightmares. Yeah.
It's so cruel.
It was so cruel.
That is
It's the
terrible.
worst.
What
What
did
awful kids.
12-year-olds.
I saw a tweet the other day about how middle schoolers are just a bunch of psychopaths, because they don't understand empathy anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's a psychological, it's an actual mental thing, right?
Yeah.
Where your brain doesn't.
Yeah, they can't.
You can't
comprehend
feel
empathy.
There's a part of your development where your empathy thing subsides.
Right.
And so you legitimately can't feel it.
Right. So those
12-year-olds
teenagers
are awful.
Are just a bunch of psychopaths. They were
It's also why teenagers have to take so many naps. Because they're having this huge brain development. So your empathy goes way down while your brain is developing these synapses and ability to understand bigger concepts. And so if you remember in high school feeling so tired, scientists have studied that your brain reacts the same as it did when you were a toddler as when you were a teenager. So that you're having the same amount of brain development, which is why you feel so tired as a teenager. So your empathy goes down while you build these other things, and you have to take a lot of naps. Isn't that fun talk?
Yeah.
We learned that when we were drooling over maybe Sweden's education system.
Yeah.
Somebody like that has decided to adapt their education around the fact that neurologically, high school student, you're pouring gallons of water into a cup. It's just not happening for them because their brain is going through this other process. So you can make them obligated to get up in the morning and stay there all day if you want to, but nothing functionally is being retained or learned really very efficiently there. So their high school system is based on a really small window of you're trying to catch their 10 to 2 or 10 to whatever it is.
I think
That
it's like
little
10
tiny window of
That's it. Where
It's like
exponential
3
we
hours.
we can do a lot with you for a small amount of time, and then your brain needs to go grow some more.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Do you find that to be true with your kids, Molly?
All right, we got to get moving.
Okay,
Yeah, we
so-
gotta get moving.
Well, answer that really quick.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, so I
sorry.
find that with my kids.
I thought we were just talking.
Yes.
we are.
I thought we already started.
They're ready to go.
Okay. Yes. I answered it.
We'll get back into parenting.
I thought we
Actually, we'll
already
get back
started.
Into parenting.
I know. I
We were
thought
feel
kind
that-
silly.
of we
I
were
thought
kind of
the
flying.
earning-
Sorry.
I thought the earning was that was it. It was like
That was the question.
What's our dollar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
How
this
old were you
dollar.
when you first started babysitting?
My mom started leaving us alone when I was like 6. So,
Lucy, you should be just leaving. Lucy home with the
yeah,
kids. You
like,
guys don't need to pay
6.
babysitters
I mean,
anymore.
she'd love it.
I know.
It
That's
mi-
all she wants.
like I have 9 siblings, so like we just
That was
Yeah.
a huge family.
just leave everybody alone with me. And I have lots of horrible stories about that.
All right.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Anyways,
Horrible.
I mean, that was gold, you guys. Gold.
That was gold.
Let's really
So
read
on,
those.
on that note, I mean, there were a lot of obstacles getting in our way to get here. Obviously, what almost kept you from being here today?
is this part of the thing?
Sure.
Are you going to keep checking in? Just
Are we starting?
I
Ooh.
Ooh.
like
All right. This is going to
Sexy.
get super sexy.
Wow.
I knew it. Thank you, Tate.
yes.
Time to take your masks off.
Oh, tongue kiss time.
Only mask.
Ooh, only
Yeah.
only masks.
Tate, did you ever do a bat during improv class and we did it where you shut off all the lights and then do a long form improv scene?
You didn't do one with me.
No. The only two teachers I've had were Steven and you.
Okay. Steven definitely wouldn't have done that.
That sounds fun. We should do it. right now.
It's a really fun, it's like old timey,
Old radio.
It's like an old radio show, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like, you make the sound effects and yeah, it's a real good listening exercise, obviously, because it can't use your eyeballs.
Of.
All right. Yes.
All right.
All right. Do you want me to answer that question, Tate?
Yeah. What?
wait.
What almost kept you from being here?
Well, my son was identified as a contact last week, and he has since had 2 negative tests. And so we're like, it's just been like until the waiting game and the making sure that, I was not like exposed to somebody who is positive. So that was my, the potential. And then when we got all the negative tests, it was like, okay,
Hooray!
hooray. But yeah, it's so frustrating. It's just so maddening that you can't get the rapid tests take 15 minutes, but
We have to wait days.
I waited 2 hours in the car to get the rapid test. And so I wasn't going to go do that again. Anyways, and then you have to wait 2 to 3 days. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like if we could just have that testing shit down.
Seems like we've had time to.
Wasn't Bill Gates supposed to like send us all stuff in the mail?
Here, take this shot.
Is that part of pandemic?
No. I think he had developed some sort of like, or somebody in Seattle had developed an online.
Where? Where is that?
So I don't
one.
know. If you could, I don't
call
know.
back.
Here's the state of
To
Washington.
the thing we weren't recording.
I think we got it all.
Yeah, we got it all. Yeah. Anyways, he was supposed to develop some like salivary home test so people didn't have to even leave their house. Like you just like
Right.
spit in a tube, send it off, and then you get your results.
Sounds great.
I was just gonna
Tube spit.
invest in a PCR machine. So
What's a PCR machine?
I don't even know what that stands for. But
Oh,
how they test for the DNA of the virus.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, get one.
Someone's
Yeah.
gotten educated lately.
Well, I know a lot about the process. So now you guys get to answer the question.
We're just lazy. We didn't want to
What?
come.
Not true.
Just
Yeah.
lazy. You didn't want to come.
I just wanted to wear sweatpants all day, and
You could have taken sweatpants here. You're still. I mean, what,
I
what
could
changed?
not.
You're
I'm
in
a
sweatpants
lady.
right now.
I wore jeans, and now they're
She's
covered
got
up with my
sweatpants under
coat.
the jeans.
Yeah, I do. They're so cozy.
Oh my God.
So you didn't want to. You just didn't want to.
Oh, I'm joking.
fuck it.
That's a straight joke.
Just,
That's
you know,
okay.
the absolute decimation of our country and planet Earth is the only thing that slowed us down.
I mean, we're running a homeschool co-op where we have a family that we're homeschooling with, and now we have another family that we're introducing in as well. So we have to take into account everybody's opinions and thoughts about, like, if we're going to do something that is outside of the, like, kind of prescribed bubble that we have said that we would have. And not that everybody's, like, checking in about, like, what'd you do and where'd you go sort of thing. But
There's
it's just
trust involved.
it's just trust
Sure.
that we have to, we're just measuring that this risk over, the health and safety of this now schoolhouse that has multiple families involved in it.
So, I want to get actually.
Is that funny?
Yeah. No.
I was
You wanna-
trying to be really funny.
I
Shut
think it's
up.
hilarious that you guys are doing it. I'm like, you're crazy.
I want to back up. I want to learn about your schoolhouse. I definitely want to learn about your schoolhouse.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cool. I want to hear. So yeah, just life and the world falling apart.
Yeah.
Almost kept you. Okay.
yeah.
And your schoolhouse.
Levin was-
and you're like, fuck this.
Tweeting last night. All last night I saw.
He was
Oh, yeah?
what?
Yeah.
Was I?
Weren't you tired?
Were you
Oh, yeah.
tweeting last night?
I don't know. I
Yeah, I
woke up to
couldn't
like
sleep.
multiple tweets.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, is
It's
this for real? I
yeah.
can't tell.
Yeah.
I can't see your mouth, so I don't know if you're lying or not.
Oh, is that
That's
how you
my
tell?
tell. I'm perfect now.
So Molly.
Yes, Tate.
I'm trying to picture where did we meet?
Oh my gosh, we met. I think the first time we met was when you were going to do the fire. I am Interchange. Wasn't
Oh,
that
the should wildfires be managed?
Yes.
And you were Bambi.
Yeah, I don't think I was Bambi, but yes,
That was
one of
great.
us was Bambi. Yes.
So the improverts,
Yes.
one of my favorite. We've tried to do this with you on these upcoming episodes, but one of my favorite things to do is have improv group come in and kind of make fun of our topics right before we start them.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
And they kind of sparked that into it.
Sparked.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
So yeah,
cash it. Made another dollar.
Tate always has such great ideas, and I don't know how good I am at executing them, but we certainly have tried.
You're back. He brought you back.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're being self-deprecating.
I mean, it's on brand for me.
It is on brand.
Brand. So you did Bozeman Improverts, and then The Verge kind of. You guys came into town and crashed the party. What happened with?
No.
Tell me about that.
Well, we came into town from LA, and we're looking to, improv is our background and our passion and all of that. And we're basically trying out living in Bozeman. And part of that equation was whether it was viable to, whether there was a comedy community here, more specifically an improv community here, how that felt, and whether it seemed viable for us to open some sort of comedy dedicated venue in town. So that's what that year looked like, and the improv in Bozeman is the Bozeman Improverts, and so
It is the improv.
And they
they're
brought
wonderful.
in Dave Rosowski, and
Oh yeah,
and then Dave Rosowski is a friend of ours from LA, and a big time improviser, and he had texted us saying he was in town and he was going to do this class showcase, and could we come hang out? And I was like, yeah, I'll come see it.
So Dave was in Bozeman, and he invited you to come out and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, he mostly said, come, let's hang out. Like, there was no, come check out what they're doing. It was just like, come.
I'm in town.
I'm in town,
Yeah.
let's hang out.
Come be.
Be
be
my
in town
friend,
with
we're
me.
friends, let's be friends.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Let's have a drink and be pals. And so I went, and then I saw their class show, and it was like, hey, there's people here. And they know how to do stuff. And it's all okay. Because I was previously pretty depressed and sad. And so that was really great.
Yeah.
What was your what was like the signal that you wanted to come to Bozeman and give it a shot?
I mean, we had been sort of we had children, and that changed living.
Have.
We have children.
We
but
were in LA for like 15 years, and we were working there and doing comedy there, and we ran our own theater. We ran other people's theaters. We taught at a variety of theaters, and it was great, and we loved it. And then we had kids, and it was like we can't
have kids.
have kids. We can't do it. So we moved right outside of LA to Malibu, baby.
Oh,
And it was a nightmare.
It was not a nightmare. Give me what a nightmare. We lived in Malibu.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's
we
probably
had it so
awesome in the
rough.
movies, but horrible in real life.
I mean, it's super beautiful.
It's
It's
gorgeous.
not like a
Gorgeous.
place you live for the, like, what a community of people who take care of each other.
Yeah,
They just,
no.
everyone who moves to Malibu or are like our neighbors at the time, they move there because they want to be left alone. They're like, look, we work in Los Angeles, or we have worked in Los Angeles, and now we are making a physical decision to have people leave us alone. So we're over here, and you guys be over there. And so that we're community people.
So you took it a step further and moved to Montana.
So
Yep.
that was our well, halfway out was worse.
It's like it's like it felt like
We can see.
it's like we
our
graduated high school, but we didn't leave the town where our high school was, and we kind of were still hanging around the high school. But we couldn't participate in high school anymore because we had kids now.
And you're the creepy old people.
And
who
we're the
come
creepy
back.
old people.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like that. And we were doing great. We were running this theater, and it was great. But we really wanted to like make a change for our kids. And we knew people who lived in Bozeman, and we had visited Bozeman a bunch. And Levin's dad lives in Montana, so we were like, well, let's go move to Montana for a year. We've been there so many times. We love Montana.
It will clarify. You know, they're like, well, it'll
And we have
either
the
feel
means.
like, yes, that's great, that's what we needed, or no, we should definitely go back, and now we will no longer be living every day with that like scratch in the back of our heads of like, is this where we really want to be? So we were just trying to follow that journey enough to make a decision in a satisfying way,
Cool.
and we were able to do that.
Do you
So,
still live with that? Are we still in the right space?
not really. I mean, we
You don't
I
second guess being in Bozeman?
Oh no! I mean that first year I did. I was really like, get the fuck out of here. Worst. But then we met Molly and some other people
in that whole community.
that community, and then that made it feel like home. And then now it feels like home.
Okay, so you were kind of like, screw this place, and then you met Molly. So are you guys like a throuple now?
Well,
I
we
mean,
don't like to
haven't-
label things.
Yeah, we haven't had that conversation with ourselves yet, so I don't think this is the place for it.
Yes. I mean, I think
we met Molly, and
Yeah.
and we had a community, and it felt good. And Molly wanted to work with us and launch Last Best Comedy. So it was like, well, we
this.
found our person. This seems great because we can't do it on our own. That was the thing we had said when we ran our theater by ourselves, which was called Now Improv. We couldn't do it on our own because we're essentially we're not a full person because one of us always has to be with the kids, sort
Yeah.
of thing. So we needed at least one other person, and now we have Molly and other people
Yeah,
all working together, and it feels like home.
I took both of them. I took the Verge's improv and then your improv. I love that there's a little bit of variety now. Like you said, the only improv in town was the Bozeman Improvers.
Yeah. They
and,
were.
And yeah, it's great to have that. I don't know. Just more. It seems like it's a little more vibrant, having a little bit more around.
yeah. Yeah, improv is not that way where like, oh, they do improv, and if we come to town, then we take improv away. That's fundamentally counter to the nature of the art form, which
Yeah.
is so collaborative and so support-based that like, oh, you do improv, and we do improv. Let's do improv. Let's make improv get bigger rather than feel like we have to possess this tiny little grain of it. But instead, let's allow it. And comedy in general, stand up too. They're like, how do we let it grow larger in Bozeman? How do we give it more space and more opportunity rather than how do we squabble over this one small crumb of it.
Yeah, there is kind of that step. There's there's such a limited scene. There was a limited scene in Bozeman, even in the music scene, and there's like the only person in town, and if one person comes along and adds to that, there's kind of that
Fear?
it's like a little hill you got to get over.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fear. There's a fear of like, you're going to come take our shit.
Yeah.
And we've worked to do this thing. And like, now you're coming and telling us that you're doing it too. But you know, like Levin's saying, the idea is more the not the more the merrier, but like, you know, diversity and variety creates stronger everything for everybody. It's better to have 2 programs. It's better to have 3 programs. It's better to have 4 programs because you have so many different takes on it, and because people are so individual. Everyone's an individual, so they will come to it in different ways and get different things out of it. So
When you
need
just
that variety.
Yeah. No, I like that. When you describe each other to strangers, how do you do it?
You mean when I describe Molly or Levin or just Levin because he's my husband?
We describe each other. Describe each other.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Annie is pretty easy. She's just
Fucking gorgeous.
Like a beautiful walking dick joke all the time.
It's true. It's so true.
A beautiful
Dick or
walking
period
dick joke.
Period too.
Yeah.
And period. Oh, thank you. I got to keep it. I got to
you
keep
know,
all genders.
And if we like, there's more room to write than like also a great mom and some other things, but like mostly, mostly that.
Walking dick joke.
No, a beautiful walking.
A beautiful
dick joke.
walking dick joke, and in small parentheses, a good mom.
Great mom, great wife, great daughter, cool person, all that stuff.
All right.
But don't lose sight of what
I mean,
you-
that's going to be on our headstone.
yeah. We were just talking about that.
We were just talking about that, but I don't think I said anything about dick jokes.
No, I
But
can't remember what we came
I
up
mean,
with.
I hate to say that that's spot on, but it is. And I want it to be something more, you know, like, what a philanthropist.
Come on now.
I could barely say that word.
I don't think you want to walk around in that skin all the time.
What
Being a philanthropist.
Damn it, I shouldn't have tried it again. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. Molly, is that how you would describe me?
Sure. I thought this was just a couple situation. I'm just
This
observing.
is a full thruple.
This is the thruple.
This is the thruple.
This is
We
the
get to
throuple.
describe you too.
Oh my gosh, this is no good.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that is you're extremely passionate about pretty much everything that, you know, good and bad, right? Like, like I think you're, which I love so much.
This is a nightmare.
It's not a nightmare. I truly, I think I've said that to your face. Like whenever, you know, like, oh, am I just, when you get like in those moods, you're like, am I just too much? I'm like, no, it's like, it's great. You're passionate. And it's really fun to be around.
I like that you label me as passionate over too much, which is what I like to label myself as. I'm
Yes.
just too much.
So let's qualify the earlier statement. She's a beautiful, passionate, walking dick joke.
Yeah.
Mm.
And a good mom.
I'll allow it.
And,
And a good
and a good mom.
and a good mom. Yeah. And I'm a good mom. I already did this joke earlier. Didn't you see me?
I was just reflecting it on you.
It's more like this.
This
And
is
Leslie,
how you
but-
mom.
This is how I mom. I hope my kids see this.
They are.
How would we describe Levin?
Levin.
Let's go, Levin.
Oh, it's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Don't describe yourself.
I'm so ready.
I mean, Levin is he's legitimately, I think, a tall drink of water.
That was what came to mind for me as well.
And I mean that, like, you're, you know, like by drink of water, I mean that you're refreshing and I know, for real.
Necessary to live.
Necessary to live. Yeah, all these things are true for me. That's true for me.
Thank you.
But
Not for me.
Not for Molly. I mean, there's the tall drink of water in the way of, like, because you're very sexy, and I think that's true. You guys don't have to
Not for
answer
me.
it, if you think Levin's sexy or not, but I think he's very sexy. But also, you're tall, and also drink of water, because you're a very calm and centered,
Yes.
and like you're just like a rock. You are a rock of a person, and you always get
But
labeled,
made of water.
huh?
But made of water.
But made of water. You're a
strong
rock,
rock.
made of water. everyone says you're so serious. Even our kids say that you're serious all the time. But I know that you're not serious. Like you're like the least serious person I know. Like you love to fuck around. You are always joking around. You joke around to the point where I get mad at you.
That's true.
Yep. I used to yawn and he would stick his fingers in my mouth while I was yawning.
Just like I like, doodle-oo.
And it made me so
With the sound effect?
mad.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Or just like,
I'd just be tired and I'd yawn and then suddenly I'm like, ah!
it's a horrible thing to do to someone.
Fucking horrible.
But in my defense, it's so
It's so funny.
wonderful to see someone light up when they're so surprised that it's
What an
really
interesting description, lighting up.
Yeah, but this is how he describes teasing me during the day.
It's just
Oh, you mean like lighting up to being on fire?
well, just
No.
like and it's like an authentic window into someone totally unguarded when they're just like absolutely startled, and you shouldn't have done that, but it's so pretty to see. That it's hard not to do it, but I don't do it. I haven't done it in a long time. I just pretend like I'm going to now,
I
and
know.
that gets almost the same response.
Just to clarify, you two are married.
Yeah.
We are married. Yes, but I would say
Experimenting with the third.
experimenting
Yes.
with this third position. That is actually not happening. We're not having sex with Molly.
No.
Yet. Anyways, that's what I would say.
We almost dispelled it, and then you left the yet in there, but we're not.
Tall drink of water.
I'll drink of water.
And that you're not everyone thinks you're serious, but it's just because you have kind of a stoic quality, but really you joke around more than anybody.
Fair.
More than anybody that I know, and it's just fucking delightful
Thanks.
how much of a joke around you are. Except
Absolutely.
when you stick your fingers in my mouth or in my armpits or any of the other things.
I think that's a marriage
That's
thing.
yeah.
I've never.
I
felt
haven't
that
done
way.
that to
He's not
Molly.
done that to me.
Well, don't know.
Gosh dang, I'm really missing out. I was gonna say tall drink of water, not because but I didn't want to say tall because I don't feel like that's what defines you.
Well, it's a part of it.
It's a part. But I think balancing, like, I always feel like I can always count on your, like what you're saying, like this calm, like an anchoring energy of that, like kind of balances out maybe our, like, our
feminine qualities?
I call myself a little manic. So I would say that like that's what I feel like I can, and so I'm always surprised like at the level of like whenever we're in these meetings, I feel like Annie and I need to console each other, and then I just totally forget about you because I'm just like, oh, you're fine. You're fine. You seem like you're fine. But like I also think you feel so deeply, which is such a wonderful quality. Too, like, and it's easy to not see that because you are such a good calming, like balancing force.
And you're a good dad.
And
Good one.
You're a good dad.
Thanks.
Good dad.
so, anyways,
Also, all right.
Yeah.
that's all.
Let's
That's all I
do
know
Molly.
about.
Thank
Oh,
you.
God,
Thank
don't
you
do
both. That
me.
was wonderful.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that was
Jeez.
wonderful. You're quite a guy.
Wow, you guys are great.
I'd say Molly.
And we gotta go
I'd
onto
say
a
Molly.
commercial.
You are a good mom in the forefront, and I don't mean to your children.
Oh yeah, fair.
A good mom to
like-
you. Who? To you?
To everybody.
Everything that she's involved in.
Everything you're involved in.
You're the mom.
You're the mom.
I'm a mom.
She takes care of everything that she's involved in.
Absolutely. That's the thing about you is like you take care of everybody that you're involved in, everything that you're involved in. You're at the center of like the organization of it, people's feelings, making sure that everyone's got their birthday presents, that they're getting taken out for a drink, that they're getting a hug when they need a hug, that I need a walk. You're there. You're going to go on a walk with me. We're getting check-in phone calls and texts and and when it's an improv show, you're making sure everyone's backstage, that they're warmed up, that we're ready to get on stage. And it's not in a like barking sort of way, it's in it's not like you get here and you do this, but it's more like, I'm going to care for everybody, and I'm going to care about everything that we're doing together, even when you're tired and even when you're upset or whatever. Like you're going to push through and make sure that the group or the whole or the project or the person is taken care of before of you, and that's what makes a good mom, is someone who's always putting other people ahead of themselves and always thinking ahead of how to take care of those people. And you do that for everybody in your life. So you are a good mom.
Exclamation.
For us all.
Exclamation point. There's no parentheses.
Oh, thank you.
You're a good mom. I don't know how you are with your kids. No, I'm joking.
No, worst.
Worst. Hate these kids.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think the other the part of the inner working of that is that you're so like passionate and self-starting, motivated. The obvious example for me is that like improv is a growing thing in the world, but you got fascinated with improv here without a lot of people and no pre-existing real community of it, and just like, I love this thing and I can figure out how to make it happen and learn how to do it and grow it and really well. All of those things, not in not in any judgment, but like in this amazing, we've always been amazed at, like, we came to Bozeman and there are these improvisers, and how did they get to be such good improvisers? Like, who showed them how to do, like, I know the only, I know the people who poured the things that they had learned into my brain, but you just had to do it for yourself. And that's it's incredible. So that aspect of you is one of the ingredients that has to be in there too.
Tate, did you want us to make these more jokey or to talk?
No,
about
that's great.
the
We'll
bad
get
things?
the dick jokes.
Yeah, we'll get into
like-
dick jokes.
This is like make each other comfortable moment.
Yeah. Love guys.
That was beautiful.
I love you guys. That's so
What?
nice.
So why improv? Why do you all
man.
instinctively? Why did you
Fuck.
Why did you
How much time you
instinctively
got left?
flock to improv?
Why did I flock to improv? I think it's
And how did you, without what seems to be from nothing,
without the bigger
from thin
community.
air?
Well, it definitely wasn't from nothing. Like, we had a teacher here in Bozeman that came, Christian McDaniel, who came from the Detroit Second City. And so he kind of inspired all of us. I think we took a class. I took a class just based on a whim. I had promised myself I would do something for myself after my son turned 3. And I had always wanted to take one, never did, took it. And then he just kind of fostered a really good group of people. And I think we got extremely lucky. And that's really what kept me motivated, was just having fun with a really diverse, interesting, wonderful group of people that I never would have been exposed to, ever met. Our lives can be so narrow, and especially now, right? We have these bubbles of people that we interact with, and it just, I don't know, it just helped expand my life and the people in it and the collaboration that I don't know. I think that's what it was. It was the people that kept me coming back, and I just didn't ever want it to go away. And it's addictive, the
sure.
performance aspect too. And when I was teaching at Verge, I know this isn't, it's not maybe the best thing to focus on the showcase, but I would really work hard to make sure that the class had such an incredible showcase, because I feel like that's what really put the nail in it for me, was that very first showcase we did after my first class. It was it was just, I don't know, better than anything.
So Christian came and did this class, and you became close to your cohort.
Yes.
And you all stuck together and kind of developed this friendship and momentum with it.
Yeah.
And that kind of continued into what's kind of now the Verge, and inspiring the showcase to kind of finish it off, that really inspired you to keep going.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. What a good summary. I think, I was just having so much fun playing with my friends, and I just wanted to. And at Verge at the time, nobody was really running the program. Christian ended up leaving, and he kind of left a group of people that were still so passionate about doing it that we just kind of took up the reins and, I don't know, and tried to spread it out, and to grow the community, continue to teach classes. And a lot of people that we taught in those early days, are still a part of our community. Emmy, I think, was in one of my first classes. Kyle was in one of my first classes. So
Shout out to Emmy and Kyle.
Emmy Harvey and Kyle Sorensen. So yeah, I think that's absolutely
Just plugging
Good.
people, making
Plug
sure
them.
we're
We've
getting
got a list of people we've got to plug, but casually we don't want to
Check.
make it obvious.
Don't make it
Yeah.
obvious.
yeah. And
Sorry about my cartoonish check marks.
anyways, yes, that is correct.
Cool.
What was the question?
Yeah.
Why improv? Why did you two get into improv?
I mean,
We have different stories.
yeah, different story. I mean, the answer for why it sustains so well for me anyway is that it's just like it's such a worthy pursuit. There isn't really there's no outcome to it. No one gets rich improvising well, so you're never distracted by like some other want from it. If you want something more from the art form than it actually has to offer you, you get frustrated with improv
You
and
just
leave
burn
it.
out.
Because you're like, why am I not getting famous from this? Or why am I not getting, why is it not more about me? And it's just not that thing. And so instead, it's just an incredible, endless self-study that you are like up against yourself every time you try and improvise. The things that make you uncomfortable, the things that make you avoidant or averse or whatever it is, the things that excite you, all of that stuff is always there for you. I've never had any sensation of like, now I get it. Now I get how to improvise. I got it. Because then, it'd be boring.
So if you had expectation, it would not be sustainable for you.
Yeah, we've taught a lot of students and we taught a lot in Los Angeles specifically. So you always have a percentage of students who are taking this class because their agent or somebody said they needed to have it, or they have the illusion that if I perform at this theater, it's where these famous people used to perform.
I'm made.
So this
Yeah.
will, if I shine in my class enough, I'm sure that's how you get there.
Then
And guess
I'll be
what?
the next Mike Myers or whatever.
Ooh,
And
Mike
guess what?
Myers.
Mike Myers.
Really
choice.
Well,
pulling out-
we had his picture was a big painting of him was in the lobby
Sure.
of the theater we used to work at.
But yeah,
a terrible
nobody ever. That's not how that works at all.
It reminds me of there's a saying in Zen. It says, "I would offer you something, except I have nothing.
Yeah.
I have nothing to offer."
There's nothing to offer here. I don't
Other-
have anything for you.
Other than whatever you bring
Yeah.
to it, that
Yeah.
and then that one's bottomless. So
It's great.
It's great, and suits me just right. That sensation of like just ongoing is something
Yeah,
that
I like
appeals to me.
I like how you made the distinction of how you keep it in your life without burning out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a practice.
yeah, it is.
It's absolutely
That's
a
what it
practice.
is.
Yeah.
It is a practice, which is why you can like equate it to yoga or meditation
Sure.
or archery.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, I equate it to archery
Yeah.
Yeah.
in my classes and when I'm doing archery.
You did, yeah.
It's the same. Yeah. What was the question?
Why improv?
It's a very
Why
simple
archery?
question. Why?
Why improv? I've been through like just a huge journey with improv. I started in college in like the late 90s. And like at first it was a way for me to like be able to like, I'm a very silly person. And it was a way for me to be silly with a bunch of people and to not be like the idiot or the like clown, or do you know what I mean? Like my friends up until the moment of finding improv were always like, oh, Annie, she's such a fucking idiot. Like,
They didn't know how to label you as what you
Yeah.
were an expert at.
and I'm thinking of the words they used for me, and they're not culturally appropriate, or they're not appropriate phrases anymore. So I don't want to say them.
Okay.
But like I'm an idiot, I'm a clown, I was class clown, things like that. And like, yeah, people would laugh at me, but rarely with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, not that people weren't laughing with me, but like, or I wasn't making people laugh, but like, Yeah, it was like kind of out to sea. And then I'd have to curb a lot of that back for a lot of my friends growing up, even when I was like young, because if I did it too much or like I was too goofy, then like it's just like, like, oh, what an asshat she's been. You know what I mean? Like,
was it like a personal exploration for you, or was it to entertain others?
In the beginning, I don't know what the fuck it was. I just my friend was going to these auditions on our campus for Absolunacy. Check that one off as the call out.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you.
Absolunacy.
Absolunacy, Ball State's premier improv group in 1997. And,
Heard of them?
He wanted to go. I had seen them perform and I thought they were amazing. And I loved like Whose Line Is It Anyway? And like, I was like, oh man, yeah, I couldn't do that. Ooh. And it was a huge audition. There was like 300 people there, and I got onto the team. Me and this other guy. There's two of us selected, and my friend did not get on. He was really mad, and he squirted saline solution in my eyes, guys. That's how mad he was at
friends
me.
with a lot of bullies.
I was. What the fuck was wrong with that guy? True story.
He did it out of spite.
Yeah, he was really mad at me. I mean, he was really fucked up. It was weird. Then later in
It's a
life,
weird temper tantrum choice.
and he left Ball State shortly after. And then years later, at Iowa West, where we used to perform and teach in LA, he ended up walking through the door one day and was shocked to see me and wanting to get into improv. And I was teaching there at the time, and I was.
Did you teach him?
No, I didn't teach him.
Did you say no?
No. I think he took classes. He was trying to do his own thing. What if he's listening? He'll know I'm talking about him. Never mind. Don't cross his name off the list.
You always told me he was just unteachable.
Oh no!
I didn't say that.
You didn't say
There's
that.
no such thing.
This was just that moment. Anyways, so when I joined Absolunacy, it was kind of like like I kind of fell into it, and then I was finally in a group of people where I felt comfortable joking around, but I still didn't feel comfortable in my skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still wasn't me.
Because it was still kind of new to you, and you didn't know what it was yet.
Yeah, I was scared, and like everyone. I felt like everyone was so talented, and I'm sure I had my own talents, but they were also, garbled in like what I should be versus what I am, and like, am I going to be accepted for who I am, or do I have to be like these people? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's a college thing too. And so then after college, I did more, and I was in like a kids touring company, and I did long form, I did short form, and then eventually I came to LA and started doing long form there. And it slowly morphed. But improv is like because improv is a life journey, and there are these ebbs and flows and ups and downs, like your pursuit of improv changes with who you are as a person, or how you define yourself, or what your goals are. Like, it just moves, like the whole thing kind of rolled for me. So as things started changing in my life and bigger things happened, I became more open to things on stage and more accessible to them in a way that I previously would have been like, I got a dick joke for that, And in the beginning, I was like a lot of like huge characters smoking cigars and like playing big eagles that would eat eggs. I don't know, just like, not that I wouldn't do that now, because I definitely play an eagle that eats an egg, but
But it would have so much more heart now.
I had here's the thing.
Story.
In the beginning, it was like all about like putting on a show and being big, and like, what do you want to see? What's gonna be funny to you? Bing, bing, bing. And then I had a teacher tell me that and I've said this story to lots of people. These guys know.
Jason Pardo, shout out to Jason
Pardo, shout out. He said that I was a keg party on stage, but I never threw a dinner party on stage. I never was sophisticated, and I never was subtle, and I never acted. And I was always somebody else. I was never close to myself. And I was like, the fuck? And I went in my car and I cried.
Aww.
And I was like, panicking. So then I spent the next two classes, especially those two classes, I was like, I will not play any characters that are far away from me. Everything will be more Annie. And it was impossible. And it was the worst. It was the worst time I've ever had. Was trying to be myself, trying to be comfortable being actually myself on stage as opposed to being a character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to know like how I took your character class.
Yeah, I got through it.
Yeah. How do you
I can do both things now.
How do you find yourself in improv when you take on all these different characters? Like it seems like you found yourself and you didn't like it, and so you went back out again after you got that.
Oh no,
I want to hear it from all of you.
I didn't find myself. That was an invitation to become more comfortable being myself. So like all this process of coming up through doing improv to like put on a show, to like feel okay being funny, all that stuff was still a show.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Keg party.
It's keg party. And then after that, I slowly started realizing that I needed to be able to be myself too on stage and to be able to do both those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to play characters that were soft or subtle or real or didn't need a laugh. And that was a huge thing, to play a character that wasn't intended to make someone laugh, but instead play a character that was intended to be emotional or to move someone. And then that helped me be more of that thing in my life too, of like, I'm not always putting on a show. I can feel my emotions. I can be...
It sounds like you embodied it a little bit more after you could label it.
I became more comfortable being myself using improv. And I think that's why I love improv, is because it is a practice field for being able to be more of who you actually are. So you have this idea of yourself, but then and then you get to go to improv, which is the practicing of being yourself. And slowly you can be more of your thing. You can be more of who you are. Sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, you're good.
You guys go. Bye.
I love it. You guys talk about it so eloquently.
Did we talk? We got over that topic. That was it. Why improv? Okay. Why?
Yeah, that was just sorry, guys. I really went on that thing, and now I feel embarrassed.
No,
you're great.
You shouldn't be.
That the thing you're saying is so true. The thing that is neat. One of the things that is neat about it is that it is like this two opposite things happening simultaneously. That you need to be your calmest, most open, grounded self in an environment that is exactly the opposite of where that would ever occur. That like you're being thrust into what is to almost everyone a terrifying situation.
Yeah.
On stage, lights, audience, expectation that it's funny, no script.
Knee-jerk reaction, throw a keg party.
So you're in that environment, and that does what it does to everyone, which is like you tighten up, you throw whatever you can at the problem, and then you realize that like, oh, but the things that you're learning in class are just like listen and support and take care of each other and trust, and so those aren't what you naturally default to in a house fire. You don't like, we just need to listen here for a minute. We'll figure out where to go. But that's what that practice is. The like, you're getting tangible hours of repetitive practice in a like really pressured environment. And with time, calm can set in so that you can be you there and then make choices from being you. It doesn't mean you only play you in a scene. It's just that you can choose that it would be fun to be
an eagle eating eggs, or a compassionate, realistic portrayal of an abused woman.
Yeah.
So house is on fire. Your best advice is to just stop.
and breathe. I don't.
Your metaphor of house is on fire is being in front of a group of people.
Not literally.
With improv for the first time.
Yes.
That's the metaphor.
And not even the first time. I think that it takes years and years of practice to not feel that you immediately walk on stage and just do the shit you do to survive.
Yep.
I don't know. Here's a bunch of shit. And then slowly you start to be like, no. And I call them defaults. I don't know if you remember from our class, but I call them defaults, where like, this is the default knee-jerk reaction of I would do this. But then as you get more calm, you can stop yourself from that knee-jerk and make a choice, actually, as opposed to just doing what you always do. But that's the same thing in life, too. And it's the reason that, like, people tell you, and I can't think of what people, you guys, but like
just people
to like drive home in a different way. What you know what I'm talking about here? I
think I told you that story.
You told me this story.
So
you tell it.
I went to Kenyon College, and their swimming program is they're Division III, but when I was there, the men's team had won like 23 consecutive national championships, and the women's team had won 19 or something. Just like unthinkable records that in any division of anything, no one ever does. And so their head coach, who was the coach of both teams, was always like, people are always like, what are you doing? How is this possible? And he's like, oh, I don't think about any of that stuff. In fact, the example he gave was that like I often drive my wife crazy because I don't want to drive home from the pool the same way ever. So I don't approach next season trying to replicate what we did last season. I just am like, well, I want to find a different way to get there. And so long as you continue to want to do that, you don't get consumed with the weight of what you have done or the pressure of any of that stuff, but instead you're just in it for the like, I wonder if I could get home if I start that way. And it's always sort of stuck as an idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
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 I like what you were saying, Annie. I don't want you to feel self-conscious about what you were saying. I think what you put into words is a lot of what I have always felt about improv and why it's so emotional. Like, it's so wonderful on so many levels, but there's been probably some of the worst nights or evenings of my life have been like after an improv rehearsal or after an improv show.
Just crying.
Where you just...
stressed.
Yes. Or just I don't know, you're just at such a vulnerable place and you are kind of like confronted with so many of these, your own issues and, like having to like overcome them. And it seems like such a simple... such a simple thing, but it's in theory it is, but I think we're all just kind of taught to suppress all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to like access that and do it on stage in front of a lot of people. And so like it just and the honesty and what I have always really appreciated about your guys' teaching style and what I really liked about David Rosowski's teaching style was this idea that we're not creating stuff. We're building stuff off of what is actually here. And the emotion that you have in, whatever you're feeling, whatever positions people are taking on the stage, it's there. Shape, all the viewpoints, et cetera. But, the idea that, and with the teaching analogy or metaphor, that's an analogy, right? Not a metaphor. The driving home thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what words are. But when it's, he's not thinking back at last season, like what he did and why did that work. He's just dealing with or the way that I was thinking about it was you're just dealing with what you have in front of you in this moment and making choices moving forward and
trying to surprise yourself.
And trying to surprise yourself. Yeah, and enjoying that process. And you guys once said something. So, I mean, as the improvers, obviously we were improvising for so long on our own and we didn't have a lot of coaches. We had brought David Rosowski in to do some stuff, but we never had like anybody coaching us. And I'm a judgmental person by nature.
That was one of the things I was going to say.
Yes, I thought.
Great mom.
I can't believe
super judgmental.
Super judgy. But you're like, I've never seen you guys, judge when somebody would jump onto stage. When another improviser would jump onto stage, we would like instantly have this moment of judgment when they came on stage. And I remember you saying that, and for me, it really resonated. This
like
idea,
a new improviser that it wasn't quite in your community yet.
Yeah, no, just somebody we've been improvising with forever, but we're in a scene and we're having a great scene, and then somebody jumps on stage, and then we like the two people in the scene. There's this beat, and we're like, oh, here comes this person. What's gonna happen? And then you guys said it shouldn't be that way. It should be like, yes, this person is here. What is gonna happen? Like this excitement of.
What are they going to do?
What's going to happen?
Cool.
Like,
cool.
Yes.
This person came on.
Rather than this like, we were doing so great.
And now here they come with their fucking bullshit.
They're totally going to mess it up. They don't get this.
Yes. I mean, it's such I don't speak about improv as eloquently as you guys do, but I do love that idea of surprising, accepting what is there, and then, yes, enjoying it and being surprised.
To be excited by the process of finding something new. Like, what could I like new about this now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The goal is not like, oh, well, I think I found the fastest way home from the pool. Let's just knock it out.
Hit it every time.
Like
Don't think.
The same way.
Personality exists. They're like, it's a thing.
It coexists.
But I really love the the wandery one. That like, well, sure, I know that's probably the shortest, fastest way to get there. Are there other ones? And what do they look like? And what would you see if you took them?
Right.
And there's the state, like I always talk about the like it's the state of curiosity, like being a good improviser. And even like so much to say is like being like a continuing to grow person is someone that is craving that, like that has curiosity, that I'm curious about. I can be curious about anything moving forward. You know what I mean? And as an improviser, like, what else? Well, what else? Well, what else? Well, what are you going to do? And what are you going to do? And what are you going to do? And every time I see these people, they could bring something new because their lives are informing things about them, right? So even though I've improvised with Levin or with Molly, when we step onto stage together, because they're always growing and changing, their energy and their essence is always slightly different, even if if I don't think about it, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's Levin. But I mean, we have experiences every time we're not on stage, and that informs who we are. So when you step back onto stage, you're a slightly different person than the last time you were on stage. And can you key into the curiosity of being interested in everyone's uniqueness and everyone's journey? And in that way, you can constantly be surprised by people, and that can be really exciting.
There's nobody I've done more hours of scene work with than Annie.
Hey,
and
talking.
The thing that is wonderful, the reason that when we do our show, it's my favorite, is that like, because that trust is at a level beyond any other person I can do a scene with, it at least affords me the opportunity to dig deeper down into things that I haven't gotten to yet. Like there's always other material, and there's always other aspects of who you are, or memories that might bubble up, or thoughts or characters or whatever, but you might not get to them unless your trust allows you to be in a place where you can get there. And that's why that show is never like a boring one to me over all this time, that like just the two of you on stage and you've done all these shows. Surely it's repetitive in some capacity, and it never feels that way because it's the one with the most opportunity for surprise.
Yeah. It did get you a dick joke nickname, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just me as a person. That's not me in that
That's
show.
just an improviser.
All right.
Do you like how we've just talked about this one subject
I know.
and
Do
it
you
hasn't?
wanna
It's
ask
been
other
so
questions?
serious.
I know.
Well,
Like, oh man,
we're all cooped up.
Well, we're all cooped up.
improv.
We're all cooped up for.
I know, but
this
when I
reason.
talk about improv, it's always like, okay, this is a funny thing, but let's get fucking serious
Let's
for
get serious.
as long as I can.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I kind of want to get serious right now. I mean, one of the last classes I took from you at Last Best Comedy was last winter, and then 2020 hit, March hit, pandemic. What, in a life of thriving in uncertainty, how do you relate to that right now? Tell me about what you're experiencing as a venue, comedy club.
Well, I think in general, comedy is currently in a coma, and some of the great comedy theaters.
Certainly live comedy.
Live comedy is in a coma, and live theater is in a coma. And a lot of these comatose theaters are they're silently dying. Big ones all over the country, like
Little ones too.
And the little ones too. Knowing a lot of people who run these theaters, and also seeing like the great institutions that I have grown up with as a comedian, an improviser, like that they're gone now feels so crazy to me. And a lot of them have died. Like a lot of the big ones have gone. And then the little ones are fighting to survive in their comas. And you had said the other day, Levin, that like everybody is all these like theaters are like their ships are on fire and they're trying to swim back to shore, and we're waiting on the dock. Being like, I can't wait to get out onto that water, even though they're all drowning out there.
You can't wait, like get on the water as a venue.
Yeah. And we are very lucky
Because you were about to launch a venue literally in March, I think.
Yeah, 2 days post, our lease was set to begin, I think, 48 hours.
Well, we were set to sign it.
Yeah.
Set to sign it like 48 hours after they shut it all down.
Oh my gosh.
And it would have
So-
been before, but they had
Some delays.
delays.
Luckily.
Anyways, So
Yeah.
we're still on that shore, and we're still even though everyone else is drowning, we still are. We're excited to get out onto
Hopeful.
that water, but we can't go anywhere now, right, Molly?
No, it was, I think it's funny that you asked that question after we had just kind of talked about this idea of being surprised and enjoying the surprise of that, right?
Right. I don't fucking enjoy this
This
surprise.
hasn't been a super enjoyable experience. I think, and I think we're not the only ones, obviously, just like the little theaters, improv theaters and comedy theaters, but also live theater and, Broadway and like anybody that does, musicians too, right? All these music venues, like people that it really feeds their soul to do this kind of like art. And we just spent, half an hour talking about how much we love improv, why it's important to us. And then to kind of have that just like taken away and then also told, or, who knows when it will ever get back to normal, that we can be together and doing it at the capacity that we really want to be doing it. So, it's been a grieving process, honestly.
Yeah, there's been a lot of grief. I've had a lot of like crisis of faith this summer.
Also a lot of anger.
Yeah.
So mad.
This stupid piece of fabric over my mouth drives me, like it's really personal to walk around and see people not be able to be bothered to do it. Because it's the least I could ask that we could get to do our vocation at all. That like, we are passionate about comedy and improv, but also it's our whole livelihood. It's a dedication of my whole adult life has been in pursuit of being able to perform this thing and teach this thing and spread it and let it do the good that it does in the world. And it's gone. Like there isn't anybody anywhere getting to do it in its natural environment, which is close together, close proximity, people gathered and laughing next to each other, is just gone. And it'll be the last possible thing that gets to return. So the longer we can't be bothered to take care of each other, the longer we have to wait before we're allowed to do the thing that we love the most. And that's a really personal one, to not let anger just like
when you
eat
see
up.
someone without a mask elongating this
Or you
weight
hear
coma.
Anytime anyone is like not address, like I don't, this is not a political thing for me. It's just there's this virus that exists, and as a result, I'm not allowed to do my job for however indefinitely. And everyone that I know who also works in that field or anything related to it has no prospects. And that's a whole industry of humans that are sunk because we can't be bothered to address the thing and handle it in an adult way. And that's crushing. That's crushing.
I think the statistic is 90% of independent music venues are expected to go out of business.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I'm
what
sure
comedy would do, but-
comedy and theaters are similar. I mean, unless you have like endless resources, those things are just gonna go. So, I think for Last Best Comedy, we're trying to remain patient. We're trying to remain patient because we didn't end up signing that lease. And so we still have like our seed money, and we still have this community that does want to do things. And so we're trying to be out there a little bit as much as we can. And we're just waiting. We're waiting for a time when laughter isn't contagious. And it's back to its old meaning of laughter being contagious, which is like the fun way. And not
Contagious
the like
in a fun way.
contagious in a fun way, not in the way where I would kill you or your
Not
family.
in the way that I just killed your grandparents.
Ha ha.
And it's not like people are like, oh, I'm going to catch that concert tour next year. All these venues have employees that will have moved on by then, and the production staffs and the booking agents.
Yeah.
All of,
I mean,
all
the
of that.
move, I think that's,
Infrastructure is like,
Yeah.
you can't have touring comics if all the venues go away.
Yeah.
And so a part of our model is to be one of the stepping stones that a comic can stop here for a night on their way across the country and share their point of view and their comedy with this community. And if all those stones are gone,
How would you reinvent it?
oh,
Would you? I mean, is it good how it was, or would you have changed anything?
Throw this water in my face.
I don't know. I feel like
What do you mean,
I feel like the music industry and entertainment was just like bam, bam, bam. I've got to be doing something all the time, and it created this cataclysm of everything happening, and people stopped pausing to appreciate and slow down. Is this a good lesson in like not being that way?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything to
Is
say.
it-
mean-
do you mean to approach comedy and comedy clubs,
Just
and
like-
improv, like to find a different approach to it that would be sustainable and stable in the future?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the last business I would ever want to go into would be a venue.
yeah,
Unless
Oh,
I
yeah,
had like
of course.
slot machines in the lobby or something.
Right.
But I mean, or are you saying like, you know, in general that like an artist's way of life is like continually having to generate new ideas and new material, and that is hard and unsustainable? And do you think this will cause some sort of reinvention of that? I wasn't sure which one of them.
Yeah, like a reinvention of that. I guess in the music industry, I would say it got kind of shallow. Events needed a good lesson in how thoughtful they were.
Mhm.
Like festivals have kind of grown along that line
Sure.
recently, but there's still a lot of just like, I'm just going to do it to do it, and
Right.
I don't care if
Right.
it's not meaningful to anyone.
I mean, I know I don't know if this is the right, this is maybe an answer or maybe it doesn't answer it at all. But the thing that I thought was that like one of the things that is unique about improv communities is that they are so community based. And so you're really, you know, our Last Best is really about building up who's here in Bozeman much more than it is about being a big venue that is bringing Dane Cook or somebody through town.
Dane Cook?
Who?
Somebody. You get what I'm saying? That like
Yes.
He's been
yeah,
to Bozeman.
Wait,
he sold out the field house.
Yeah.
Can anyone tell a Dane Cook joke really quickly? Does anyone know a Dane Cook joke? Does he have a joke?
Sure.
He's got
It's all
lots of
jokes.
jokes, I think.
Sorry, Levin. I just didn't know.
No, I just like I think that's the model.
I know
anyway.
a joke.
is to grow
You
community.
got one?
Yeah, it was actually in the movie Waiting. He was lighting I think it was Dane Cook. Yeah, he was lighting a cigarette for like a teenage girl, and he was like, "Darn childproof lighters," because she couldn't figure out how to get it lit. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like Dane Cook.
That does
I
sound
love
like
sounds
that.
like
That's-
the
Frat,
Was my go-to
it was
reference.
frat humor.
for sure.
frat humor. Oh, frat humor.
Aw.
That's what he represents. I'm sorry, Levin. You're
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I'm just
making
saying
up
that like I
noise.
think that like a continued investment in your own community is going to be more viable going forward anyway, and that's what improv theaters have always kind of been that way. That they are, you know, if you want to look at it cynically, that they're like the training centers funding, you know, like the only people watching the shows are the students, and like you can view it that way, but really what it's about is that you're creating a group of people who become interested in this thing and they support it and watch it, and as that grows, the like community of Bozeman is, you know, is what holds that together and keeps it viable and safe potentially.
I mean, it sounds like one of the core rules of improv is just slowing down and being present, and you're taking that in a larger step with being present with your really uncomfortable
Uncertainty.
kind of uncertainty with the community at large, just kind of being with them and
Yeah.
kind of flowing.
Yes.
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 And I don't think, to answer your kind of bigger question, I don't think that it needs to be reinvented necessarily, because I do truly believe, I think one of the most tragic things is, and the thing that we'll have to work really hard at once things kind of stabilize, is a performance place, because I mean, nothing can replace human connection, you know, in music venues or in comedy theaters or in a small community theater like Verge that shut down, you know, like those spaces. I think it's like, I don't know, it's life-giving, and it's so important to a community. And I would hate to see a community without that. So I don't want to, I guess maybe I don't want to reinvent it. I don't want to try to figure out a way to, like, a workaround. Like, hey, we're going to be pandemic proof for the next 100 years because we got this model.
We've got this
figured
Zoom
out.
model of
We've
improv.
got the Zoom
Yeah.
model of improv figured out.
Yeah,
Because
no.
it's just not the same. I mean, there's some really great things about it, and I have enjoyed a lot of stuff about it, but it doesn't replace that connection that you have when you see something with somebody, you know, in the same theater space, when you hear music of this, you know.
Yeah.
It just, there's just no, you can't replace it.
What's it like being a parent? Right
Just
now?
in general?
You're like
Or right now. Or right
like
now.
you're what's
they're
it what's it
starting a
like being a
homeschool,
home?
so.
Yeah, tell me about being a homeschooling parent.
Our school is called Cool School.
Cool school.
I love it.
I'm not sure everyone knows that it's called Cool School, but we call it
call
Cool
it
They
Cool
do
School.
now.
Yeah, it's called Cool School.
It's the job that we never asked for. You know, like this fall, we're supposed to be, you know, we were concerned of like, oh my goodness, how are we going to juggle opening our space with being with our kids enough and them not feeling like they're getting the short end of it. And now that's the whole
100%.
gig right now.
100%.
is-
Mom and Dad.
Teaching. I mean, for me, there's part of it that I'm so grateful to be teaching my kids right now because we can't be doing this theater. It's just a point of focus. You know, like Molly has recently gotten a part-time job.
Yeah.
Right. And like, because I was going nuts over the summer, like just kind of pacing around, contemplating, you know, theater and like comedy, and like all I've done for so many years is teach, and then do I go back and do something I used to do? Like, should I get a job at like a high-end clothing store? Because I used to run a
Or
high-end
husk
clothing
some
store.
corn.
Or husk some
Dehusk some
corn.
corn.
Or like, you know, like really expanding, like, you know, what if I learn how to teach yoga? I was really spiraling out away from the things that I love and know. So teaching, having the focus of teaching our kids at home, and having that be a reason that I have to get up every morning is been the silver lining to teaching. Do I love it all the time? Is it fucking great? Absolutely not. Am I exhausted constantly and want to drink all the time? Yes. But I do have to get up in the morning. And so like I set out my clothes in the morning. Like at night I set them out, because if I don't set them out, you guys, then I stand in my closet for way too long and try on way too many outfits.
Thinking about what clothes to homeschool in.
Right. What clothes should I homeschool in? So now I set them out at night and I don't think about it too much, and that's great. But that reason to get up is, for me, great. And I actually like teaching. I like teaching. So teaching kids is just like a different version of teaching improv. And I'm trying to find the ways that I teach improv and how can I relate those things in what I'm teaching my kids. And do I have it down? Do I have a lot of tips? No, but I'm working on it.
It's a power suit day.
This is a power suit. I'm going to wear a power suit tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
Good
Imagine
morning.
what the kids would do.
Time for morning circle.
They'd be like,
so
this
awkward.
is cool school.
This is
and
cool
you pull down
school.
your sunglasses.
I got my sunglasses. I've got just a hot pink
Hot
suit
power
on.
suit. Mhm.
Are you teaching your homeschool teaching?
No, I am not homeschool teaching my kids. They are, I guess some of the, we're doing the blended model with the school district, and some of the online stuff it's mostly just organization and making sure that the kids are getting all their stuff. But it's terribly overwhelming. It truly is, like what those kids are juggling on a day-to-day basis. And talking back to like how high schoolers and teenagers have a hard time focusing for long periods of time. I mean, it's just, it's, I'm needed, but I'm not needed. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not really like actively involved in their learning, but they definitely need like a usher every once in a while to
Yeah.
there.
Mom to smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being a student today with school shooting drills and a pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't, somebody said to me the other day when we really have liked the blended model, and something that she said to me, she's actually works for charter schools and like an online charter school. But she said the skills that our kids are learning these days are actually some of the skills that they are going to need moving forward in this world that we didn't necessarily need when we were going to school, right? Which is the ability to communicate online, like the ability to learn, gather information online, like just all of those skills that they're actually learning is not as... And then, yes, less active shooter drills.
Yeah.
I would assume. They wouldn't use those 2 days to do that.
Can you believe that we're not talking about active shooters anymore? And also, we haven't had a lot of active shooters.
There's no group of people to shoot at is, I think, the only thing that changed.
But just like think about how hot topic that was, because it was fucking tragic and awful and it was happening all the time. And then the pandemic hurt and then happened and like...
And then after the election's over, we'll go back to school shootings.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll go back to school shootings. Isn't that exciting? I can't wait to start thinking
Or
about
some
school
sort
shooting.
of hybrid kind
Some
of
sort
blend
of
of both
blended shooting.
things.
Virus and school shooting.
I was talking to my...
My God, this is so fun.
my brother.
God.
Getting
Sorry.
my neck's hurting.
I was talking to my brother yesterday, and his oldest son is a freshman in high school, and we were just sort of joking about it, but also like it's true. If his school is all online at this point, and so my brother has anyway. So they haven't been around any other kids in months, and if I was to like try and reduce what I remember or enjoyed about anything in high school, and I wasn't allowed to pick from the bin of being around my friends or playing sports, there would be a
Zero fun.
full zero for me as to what about that experience would have engaged me or been of any interest that I like. He's just learning via computer screen every day. Sounds awful to me, and
For a teenager?
I'm so sorry that has to happen. Like,
Can you guys think of anything that you would have high school, right?
For what?
Like Levin is saying that like if you remove like friends, sports, theater, whatever the things you did in high school, if you removed those things and it was just the straight learning from high school,
Oh, yeah.
like what a fucking drag.
I was definitely I probably lean more social side for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100 more social side.
100%.
100%
Yeah.
more social side.
I just like
Keg party, more
it
social
just
side.
felt like it made me feel so like I'm so sorry that that's somebody's freshman high school experience.
Oh, yeah.
That like
Yeah.
everybody's getting it in a different way, but that one really like
Yeah,
Yeah.
resonated.
your
Yeah.
kids are in school
Yeah.
and it's like it's hard enough
It is hard
to
enough.
be in high school.
Totally.
The silver, the silver lining that I keep trying to tell myself, right, is that they are also very resilient because of this, because they're so resilient to speak to your, the brain is developing and, it's still moldable,
Yeah.
and we look back at our experiences and think, I try this all the time, right? Like I shouldn't put my level of happiness or what I enjoyed doing in high school. And then like, I'm so devastated for them that they can't do all those things that I love so much, but my kids don't love doing the things that I did in high school.
What did you love doing in high school?
God.
Top 3 things.
Drinking, throwing up.
My number 2
Pulling
favorite
my
thing in high
friend's hair
school was
back while she's
vomiting.
throwing up.
Number 1, drinking. Number 2, vomiting. God, I love
There
throwing
is
up.
no number 3.
I mean,
Number 3 is
it's
repeat.
a package deal. It's a package deal. Yeah, I mean, it was.
Wait,
it
but
was
what were
parties.
your top 3 things?
Yeah, no, it was
In high
parties
school.
for sure. Parties.
Did you do a
and
lot of high school drinking?
I did.
Oh, wow.
What?
No.
Mom.
New news. Mom loves to drink.
I lived in Pullman, which is located in East
Where?
Washington.
Great. Where?
Is a college town. Tate almost went to school there. And so there were lots of college parties that we went to as like freshmen and sophomore in high school. And
Did your parents know you were drinking?
Probably not.
Busted.
Busted. But
They're probably going to hear this.
yeah,
they're absolutely
going to
hear
hear
this.
this, and they're going to listen to the whole thing. But no, I was social as well, and my kids just kind of aren't. I mean, Darby plays soccer. My oldest plays soccer, and they've actually had a full season. They just finished their season yesterday, and they got to play every single game. So we feel really grateful for that. Obviously, that doesn't, my other kids are not really doing many activities outside of the house or school, but they don't want to either.
Levin, what are your top 3 high school activities? Levin went to boarding school, you guys.
Well, I don't know.
So it was probably pranking your teachers.
Like
pranking
some sort of like, teacher crank.
Scuffing your
pranks,
uniform
porn,
shoes.
and potty.
I mean,
Not tucking in
they're
your
all
sheets.
just different ways to dress up being in a group of my friends. That's it.
Just being with your friends.
I've later learned that like having improv and being on improv teams, that I was like, oh, turns out my favorite part of being on a basketball team while I love to play basketball was actually, now I recognize that it was being in that environment with like, it's us and we're a team, and I like that sensation. So any way I could recreate that throughout my day at a boarding school, which is recreatable. You have a version of it in your dorm all the time. You have it at your meals and practice games, bus rides to games. Those would be my favorites.
Hanging out.
There's no real like parties is like a thing that like when I watch movies of like high school movies, it's not my we didn't have lockers, like all those things that are like tropes of a high school movie don't exist in my experience. So
was it
like,
an all boys school?
No way.
No way.
No, I was busy not attracting the ladies at a co-ed boarding school.
We've got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
But wait. Annie, same question.
Oh, I don't know. We can keep going.
No, I'm
Tate,
here.
Annie,
I'm good.
Tate, you go.
This isn't
Listen,
about
these
me.
are 5. These are 3 things.
Three things. My 3 high school activities. Go, Tate. Wait.
I like to party. I hung out with friends, and I was pretty into sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friends really loved to like drink and smoke some drugs, and I didn't. My friends really loved to like fuck, and I didn't. I didn't have sex. I didn't do drugs or drink. And I really mostly what I did was drive people around. I was the one friend who had a job. Little Caesars, youngest manager in Northwest Indiana history.
Congratulations.
Hey.
Wow.
Beep beep. And then I was the only friend who had like a car, and I was the only friend who had money. And then all my friends would come in, and I would like make them pizzas and give them to them for free, and then I would drive them around, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and work at Little Caesars.
Oh,
yeah, and not attract the men.
it was those jeans you were wearing.
It was worth the wait.
So many Jinko jeans for me.
Will you all play a game?
Maybe.
Is this like
Yeah.
Uno? Because
Yeah, what
I can
kind of
really
game?
crush them Uno.
Well,
Categories?
part of me. So I like I said, I like to
torn.
have improv make fun of our debates.
Okay.
And so I was wondering if I could describe our 2 topics this weekend, and maybe we could choose one of them to make fun of with improv game.
Okay.
We'll try.
Yeah.
It might not be great as long as there's no pressure for it to be awesome.
There's no pressure. We've all got underwear wrapped around our faces. So.
Yeah.
No pressure.
The first topic is called OK Boomer, and I've got a person from every generation on it. There's projected $68 trillion of wealth about to be transferred to making the millennials the wealthiest generation ever. And so it's this kind of
By people dying.
people, yeah, like OK Boomer's dying and transferring wealth. And so there's like this spitefulness of OK Boomer, like this out of touch person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The second one is this tribalism versus globalism debate, which is like, I've got a indigenous person who kind of addresses most white people as colonizers.
That's
so there's-
straight true.
Straight true. And so they're like the two topics. So do you do any suture interest? Any suture fancy?
So go
I
ahead.
feel like okay, boomers.
Go ahead and pick one to make fun of. Let's stay away from indigenous people.
Yeah, okay.
I think tribalism versus globalism has the most landmines.
I mean, yeah.
Probably.
I do not want to go on those minds. And also, the person on your show is right. The white people are colonizers, I think, in all aspects. Let's talk about that. Anyways, okay, boomers.
Boomers, yeah. So what game should you play?
fuck. Like what?
Like an improv game?
Yeah, like an improv game.
What's the what games are you thinking? Do you have games?
Do you have a favorite game you like to play? when
You're
you're-
all the teachers here.
Well-
well, no, this is the worst. I'm starting to say something I deeply makes me feel like I'm rotting from the inside. But I'll suggest it because I started anyway.
Do it.
You know how we used to do that warm up that was like first "Hey Fred Schneider" and then we adapted it to like
Hey, boomer.
Hey single father.
Yes.
But you could presumably do.
It does. That
Okay.
makes me also rot inside.
Okay, boomer, what are you doing?
Okay, boomer, what are you doing? Yeah, we could do that.
I apologize to all improvisers for that terrible idea.
But it's fine. Have you ever played Hey Fred Schneider?
No, tell me.
It's just
It's a
very simple
warm-up game, and I've almost never played it as Hey Fred Schneider. I've only really ever played it as Hey Single Father. What are you doing? So we all say, Hey Single Father, what are you doing? And then the next person says the thing that the single father would say. You know, like I'm
Balance it.
overcooking mac and cheese while fantasizing about my stepdaughter. Hey, single father, what are you
Okay.
Right?
doing?
All right. Oh my goodness.
So it'll be that, but okay,
What?
boomer.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, boomer, what are you doing? And then we could say something that a boomer would say
Yeah.
in the Hey Fred Schneider
I'm
song.
my goodness.
ironing my polo while counting my dollars. I have no idea.
That's good.
While counting my
Okay, boomer, what
are
are you doing?
My dollars.
Yeah.
You gotta say it with the Fred Schneider.
That's right.
voice.
That's right.
That's where it's grounded.
Wait. Before we do this, can we just review what a boomer would be?
Uh,
Let's check the list on boomers so that we're all making fun of the same type of people.
I think,
What's a boomer to you? What does okay, boomer mean?
I think it is just somebody who's out of touch, who's a little bit older and out of touch with the current state of the world. That would be my guess. I don't think there are any specific age. I think different people use it as a what did you say earlier? You know, as an insult. It's like, okay, whatever, grandpa, but it's okay,
Yeah.
boomer.
Yeah, okay, so it's just grandpa.
Like out of touch, entitled, I think is usually a word that would be associated with that.
Because I
right?
just keep thinking of Karens, right?
Karen.
I mean, it
Karen.
is.
A
it
Karen
kind of
is a boomer,
Karen,
right?
Sure.
I think of my parents also because they're boomers, and I mean, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
It's true.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Just
So
like
this
that.
is really just stuff my parents would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
This
let's
is
do it. Let's do it.
horrible.
This is a horrible
I don't.
idea.
I want to play.
Why did I?
Why?
yeah.
Way to go, Levin.
So
I
we
had
go. Okay, boomer, what are you doing?
You could say, "Okay, boomer, what are you doing?"
And we each do one?
And so then you're like, I'm doing this one thing, and you know, like you give two examples of a stereotypical sort of boomer as you imagine them.
Okay.
My terrible example was that I pictured boomers ironing polo shirts.
That's a good one. All right, so let's do it again.
Okay.
Okay,
boomer, what are you doing? I'm selecting my new.
I hate it. Look at you staring at me. You hate me for this.
Finish it.
Okay. I'm deciding if I should shop at Black and White Market or Talbot's.
Okay, boomer, what are you doing?
And I'm starting a Twitter fight with my nephew.
Okay, boomer, what are you doing? I'm waiting for my wife to finish making dinner.
Okay,
That's a good one,
boomer,
That's a good one.
What are you doing?
Are we looking at me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you,
Oh
Levin.
man, I'm finally finishing my pilot's license, so I can take that trip to Myrtle Beach.
Okay, boomer, what are you doing? I'm again saying I'm not an alcoholic.
Okay,
Boomer,
What
are you doing?
And I'm refinishing my will to leave my stupid wife out of it.
Okay,
Boomer, what are you doing? I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, Boomer, what are you doing?
I'm getting remarried while getting the same haircut I've always had.
Okay. Should we leave it at that?
That one was really good. Although now I'm like, okay, I got.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
You're getting
okay.
it. You're
wanna do
getting
one
the
more?
thing.
Oh no, that
do
was
it,
such a
Annie.
good one to go on. I didn't have it. I didn't have it.
That's a real mic dropper.
All right.
Oh. I mean, I was just, you know what I mean. I'm like, okay, okay, I'm seeing this person a little bit clearer. Not that I know what an okay boomer is, but I enjoyed your first one.
Waiting for my wife to
To
finish
cook
making me dinner.
Making me dinner is.
That's totally my parents.
That's a straight, that's really good. My parents are not the traditional okay boomers, so what I was thinking with them was not working for me.
My parents have a good relationship. My dad cleans all the dishes. He cleans everything up, which I think is fair. Whoever cooks the other person should clean.
Yeah, sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's great.
Unless you're like such a messy cooker.
I still don't agree. I still agree the other way.
Says the messy cooker to the house dishwasher.
Yes,
I
right.
agree.
Thank you. I hate. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna. I shouldn't slander anybody.
I make such a fucking mess, and Levin does clean it up.
I mean,
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, there's like, I can't imagine that we could use this many pots and pans when what's on the table is like, we've got spaghetti. But there's 11 pots used in this journey.
I'm still thinking about the okay boomer stuff and stuff about butter.
I had to saute everything in a separate
Yeah.
pan. All right, that's good. We're done.